Today from Seattle, Washington, it's Pac-10 basketball on FSN as we welcome you inside Bank of America Arena for the Oregon State Beavers and the Washington Huskies. Hi everybody, Steve Physiok, Marcus Johnson with you. The Washington Huskies are one of the youngest teams in college basketball. 80% of their scoring comes from freshmen and sophomores. Because of that, they've struggled in league play, but Lorenzo Romar hopes their win over number 7 Oregon was the start of something good.
Well, this is a team that could very easily be 5-3 in the Pac-10. A couple of overtime losses to both Cal and USC, a one-point loss to Stanford. But if they are to turn the corner, and they're at the corner of respectability, if they want to turn it, Justin Dittman has got to continue to play as he played the other night. Now, he's a guy who had been removed from the starting lineup because he was trying to do too much. Once he allows the game to come to him, he's a much better player. And there's 7 losses, 9 points a game, terrible field goal percentage right at 32. In their 12 wins this year, those go up to 13 points a game, almost 50% from the field. So you can see he is a big reason for the Huskies having success on the floor, and he's got to continue to allow the game to come to him. Now for the Oregon State Beavers, Marcel Jones is having himself a terrific season this year. Almost 17 points a game, 6 in the Pac-10. Over the last 2 weeks, he's averaging 21 points a game. That is second in productivity only to Marcus Williams of Arizona. He is doing a better job of taking the ball to the basket and getting to the free throw line. Oregon State, if they have a chance today, it's going to rely on the scoring of Marcel Jones.
But this game's so important to the University of Washington. They must knock off the Beavers if they're to hold hopes for their 4th straight NCAA tournament. It's the Huskies hosting Oregon State. It comes your way next on FSN. Welcome back to Bank of America Arena, where Washington has the best home record in the Pac-10 over the last 2 years, going 29-3. The Huskies welcome Oregon State, who is 3-3 on the road this year. Their starting lineups: Tarver is the point guard, Wesley Washington the 2 guard. He needs to shoot outside well. Jeffers a defender, and Chewits and Jones combined for almost 30 points per game. Coach Jay John is in his 4th year, still looking for a talent and consistency to make Oregon State an upper division team. And the Washington starting 5 he'll see today. He's got big John Brockman out there. Brockman averages almost a double-double, 13 and 10, just under 10 rebounds per game. Denton, we told you, the point guard. Appleby is one of the brilliant shooters in the college game. Artem Wallace will get the start over Spencer Hawes. Brockman and Nelson are the forwards. Phil Nelson can really rip it outside. And the Huskies coach Lorenzo Romar, in his 5th year, he knows no Pac-10 team has ever made the NCAA tournament with a losing conference record. The Huskies are 2-6 with Oregon State and Arizona State next.
And our keys to the game, Steve, for Oregon State, they've got to slow it down and look to try and work for some good shots for their top guys. Unsung hero, Jack McGillis, Seth Tarver, Angelo Sakarakis. Washington, they out-rebound their opponents by almost 9 a game, continue to do so. And then Pitbull on a pork chop defense. I think they can force Oregon State, especially Josh Tarver, their freshman point guard, into a lot of turnovers if they amp up the pressure.
Here we go. Washington in the gold and Oregon State in the black and orange. It is Dentman going high-low to John Brockman and throws it away. So the first turnover against Washington. And remember, even though Dentman had a brilliant game against Oregon, he suffered 6 turnovers in the game.
Yes, he did. 24 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 6 turnovers. So he's got to do a little bit better job. There was nothing there as Brockman was fronted inside.
Sasha Chewits, good 3 shooter. He steps inside the arc and misses the 2. And Phil Nelson with the rebound. This is a freshman from Oregon. He went to Kaiser Oregon McNary High School.
Oregon State starts off in their man-to-man defense, and Sasha Chewits is going to have to play physical inside because John Brockman loves to take it to your body when he attacks the basket.
Dentman top of the key. He is the guy who got in the gaps against Oregon as Washington on Thursday beat number 7 Oregon without Aaron Brooks, and Dentman has his 2nd turnover of the game already.
Not a good sign when your point guard, who's coming off a 6 turnover game to go with the 6 rebounds and 7 assists and 24 points on Thursday, picks up
turnovers your first 2 possessions of this ball game, but guys have got to move and get themselves open a little bit more aggressively when he's stuck in the paint like that. Don't even hanging.
Huskies open in the man defense. They get it low to Kyle Jeffers, who lays it up and in. Oregon State is probably the most limited offensive team in Pac-10, averaging only 65 points per game. They're second to last in field goal percentage and last in 3 shooting and last in free throw shooting.
So they're not a very good shooting team is what you're telling me.
No.
Well, this guy can shoot it.
3 turnovers now for Washington early.
Yeah, and there's one guy, Marcel Jones, who could shoot the basketball. But Sasha Chuich, as you mentioned, another guy's got some nice range.
Chuich misses on the runner and pulled down by John Brockman. Spencer Hawes, the fabulous freshman, still on the sideline. He will not start. He will play, and he came off the bench and played quite well in their win over Oregon. Artem Wallace has his shot blocked, but it still will be Oregon Washington basketball.
Justin Dittman, we talked about it in the open, Steve, is Artem Wallace going to get his shot blocked from behind by Marcel Jones. But allowing the game to come to him if you're Justin Dittman, so far he hadn't done that. I mean, he's forcing the issue out here, looking maybe a little bit too aggressively to get something going.
Appleby has one of the quickest shots in the game. He's running along the baseline now. They look for him. Instead, they go inside to Wallace, who kicks it out to Dentman. Phil Nelson can hit the 3 and misses his first attempt. But getting the miscue is Justin Dentman, the smallest guy on the floor, throws it up and in.
And some of that pit bull and the pork chop mentality, the 3 guys just swarming the basketball. It wasn't so much in a defensive possession, but it was off a defensive rebound. And Washington gets something good out of it.
Wide open down low is Tarver, and he throws it down for the Beavers.
It used to be a technical foul when you do the chin up on the rim like that, but the officials are allowing that to go nowadays. But a nice job, a poor defensive effort by Washington to allow Tarver to get back door.
Phil Nelson has it blocked by Jones. Nelson gets it back and scores.
Phil Nelson, Kaiser, Oregon, nice little teardropper on the second shot opportunity. But Washington worked extensively on defensive principles yesterday at practice.
Boy, that could be awfully important, hitting their 3 shots. And we told you, last in the Pac-10 in shooting threes, just under 30%. Dentman on the drive gets fouled, and he will be at the free throw line. And he did that so well against the Ducks, making 8 of 10 foul shots.
One of the things that Lorenzo Romar stressed yesterday was going underneath the screens on any type of high screen where Josh Tarver just scored. They wanted Ryan Appleby to go underneath, so that open 3-point shot is going to be there.
And in overtime, number 9 Stanford beats number 10 Arizona in women's college basketball. A game that went to overtime in the desert. Here is Spencer Hawes, the excellent freshman, a 7-footer out of Seattle Prep, state MVP last year, and in his first year in college basketball, averaging 15 points and almost 6 rebounds per game. Dentman at the line. And Washington within 1 of Oregon State. Now Justin will come out of the game, and in will be Adrian Oliver, a 6'3" freshman from Modesto Christian.
And Washington extends their pressure, more of a bother press than actually trying to come up with a steal or force a turnover, to just give Oregon State something to think about.
Chuich trying to post up, now setting screens for Josh Tarver. He hit his last 3, doesn't take this one, even though a pretty good screen by Chuich.
Good screen, and again Adrian Oliver going underneath, so they're giving Josh Tarver that shot.
Marcel Jones, 4-3.
Yeah, that's a good looking jumper. I mean, a nice rotation, great lift. Shot the high arcer, and Marcel Jones is a guy that if he gets that confidence from long range, he can be a handful, averaging 21 points a game in the last 2 weeks of Pac-10 play.
Spencer Hawes misses his first shot. It goes out of bounds, and let's see who last touched it. It will be Beaver basketball.
Oregon State played Washington State tough in Pullman Thursday night. I mean, they scrapped, they were right there, but they couldn't make layups, and they missed free throws and turned the basketball over. Those things are going to kill you every time on the road. So they can put it together and make those shots they're supposed to make and take care of the basketball. They can hang tough with Washington this afternoon.
Jay John needs to do that. They lost by 15 to the Cougars on Thursday and shot only 36% in that game. Jones down low, wide open, and he throws it up and in.
That's a good sign. They're finishing on the inside. Oregon State is early.
Oliver defended by Tarver. How about that? It's Bill Nelson going deep, and Washington within 3 of Oregon State.
6'7" Phil Nelson out of Kaiser, Oregon, freshman, but he's got extensive range on his jump shot, so Marcel Jones has got to do a better job closing out.
Ooh, how about that move? Pretty move by Kyle Jeffers. Got bumped and still had the balance to hold on and contain himself and throw it in with his right hand. So Oregon State pushes their lead back to 5.
Good sign so far for the Beavers. They are making their inside shots, and a lot of those contested and not easy looks at the basket.
Spencer Hawes in the fade, got bumped by Jeffers and then turns and fires it in from the baseline. A foul went against Artem Wallace, but they will count the basket for Spencer Hawes. It's the Huskies within 3 of Oregon State with 15:06 remaining in the first half.
Dennis, talk to me on play-by-play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, hello. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I got you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 1, 2. Jesus, now I'm getting. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Hello. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it sounds better to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
He's not on it. He's on out.
Yeah, it is better. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, when is that coming? Okay.
Fans, tickets are on sale now for the 2007 Pac-10 Men's Basketball Tournament at the Staples Center in Los Angeles.
15:06 remaining in the first half, and Oregon State with a 14-11 lead over the University of Washington. Huskies came in at 12-7, 2-6 overall, while Oregon State at 9-12 and 1-7 in conference play. It's Oregon State basketball, and Washington with the man defense. Steve Physiak, Marcus Johnson with you in Seattle, Washington at Bank of America Arena, where it's the Beavers against the Huskies, and a nice shooting performance early by Oregon State. They hit 6 of their first 8 shots, including 2 of 2 from three-point range. Now they're back on defense in a zone.
Yeah, back in a 2-3 zone inside, and you can't allow that to happen if you're Sasha Church. And that's where Sasha's got to play stronger, got to play tougher. John Brockman, he is a load inside. He's going to beat you down if you allow him to, Steve.
It's Tarver with McGillis, Chewich, Jeffers, and Jones.
Yeah, here they go.
Washington picking up their defense. They've got Quincy Pondexter in the game, and he's defending Jones. And we have a whistle away from the basketball. Our 3 officials today, Marcus: Tom Wood, Randy McCall, and Don Tuggle.
It's Brockman and Chewich. Oh, wow, that's just and Brockman looking around at the official like, come on, is that how you're going to allow this game to be played? I can play like that if that's how you want to play it. But you can't let your offense stagnate trying to feed. I was going to say trying to go into Sasha, but they did, and he came through. So good move by Josh Tarver, the point guard for Oregon State.
So Chewich scoring. Here's Pondexter to go with Hawes, Brockman,
Travel,
Oliver, and Appleby, and a travel. And Washington with a lot of turnovers early in this game. They're 4th. They had 3 in the first 2 minutes, and now they pick up another.
Yeah, and Brockman's just in a little rattle after the elbow to the face, and then they do a nice job going over the top. Good pass from Josh Tarver inside. Quincy Pondexter, they worked on that extensively in practice. They want his rotations to be a lot quicker on that lob over the top. He was not there. And then Brockman comes down and travels at the other end. So Washington had better settle down.
Good defense by Appleby. Sends it out to Chewich. He's defended by Brockman.
Pitbull on the pork chop. Pressure this youngster.
Tarver made his first three, misses here. That's the first time he's had to put the ball to the floor before taking the shot. Appleby, quick three shooter. He's denied, so drives it inside to Brockman. What a pretty pass by Appleby.
Nice job, Ryan Appleby going to his left. Draws a couple of defenders. Does a nice little backhand flip inside to John Brockman, who presents himself beautifully on the baseline. But Washington, again, defensively, they must keep up the pressure on the perimeter, especially on Josh Tarver, the point guard.
Jones tried to go with the jump hook. He's denied. Beautiful defense by the freshman Pondexter.
Once again, a player looking around for a whistle instead of continuing to play.
And Oregon State picks up their defense. Jones, nice catch and finish. He is very athletic, 6 feet 8 inches tall. Played terrific high school basketball in modern day.
Yeah, just major improvement from Marcel Jones from his freshman year to his sophomore year. Now as a junior, he's one of the top scorers in the Pac-10. And here I thought Quincy Pondexter held on to it just a dribble too long, but Ryan Appleby makes something out of it anyway, as he does a great job penetrating, leaving his feet, little bounce pass inside, and then Josh Tarver heads up basketball by the point guard to find the mismatch. Marcel Jones against Ryan Appleby, just throw it up there and let him go get it.
So the Beavers opening a 3-point lead, 18-15. Their biggest advantage has been 6 in this first half, as they've shot the ball extremely well. Brockman down low.
Denman back in the game. Let's see if he settled down a little bit and it starts to move the ball and play within the context of what Lorenzo Wilmer wants his team to do offensively.
Yeah, Justin Denman told reporters after the Thursday victory over Oregon that he was being too aggressive in trying to score. He said coach told him to be aggressive with a purpose.
Yes. And not to, again, it really came to play in the Gonzaga game where they got blown out. The Huskies did at Gonzaga, and Justin Denman really forced the issue a lot and really looked for his own stuff right away. Nice ball fake.
Hawes, though, misses.
And watching Spencer Hawes run, still doesn't look like he's recovered from the stomach virus that caused him to lose over 15 pounds, a lot of his strength and energy. Whoa, watch out!
You saw him coming from the side, and Tarver almost throws it away. Now does! He just panicked. He must have been listening to Marcus Johnson saying, watch out. Got to the sideline and just threw it away. Second foul on Josh Tarver. That will limit Oregon State. They need this talented redshirt freshman point guard if they're to be successful. But let's take a look at the last. Watch out by Marcus Johnson.
That's John Brockman. Look out below!
Here in Seattle, Washington. The Huskies at 12-7 this year, facing an Oregon State team led by Marcel Jones, who has improved every single year, Marcus.
Yeah, and he's doing a nice job early here today. First at the defensive end. Not really characteristic of Marcel Jones blocking shots, but he's doing that. And then at the offensive end, knocking down the long ball, finishing off tough plays inside, using the rim as a shield, and then getting out in transition and just showing his athleticism at 6'8". Terrific hops, nice hands.
As a freshman, he only averaged 4 points per game, then 9 last year as a sophomore, averaging close to 17 this year, and has scored 7 of his team's 18 points in the first half of this game here at Bank of America Arena.
And over the last 2 weeks, again, Marcel Jones averaging almost 22 points a game. Marcus Williams is up at around 23. Aaron Brooks, Nick Young, Aaron Aflalo, all around 18, 19 points again the last couple of weeks. So that's some pretty good company when you talk about you've been outscoring those types of players.
Denman, the team leader in assists this year, and he set the freshman assist record last year with 117. Very good penetrator. Got into the gaps against the Oregon defense in their victory over the Ducks on Thursday.
Yeah, I think he needs to stay more intense defensively, gamble a little bit, try and go for it. Oh, there you go. There's a steal.
There's a steal. John Brockman throws it down.
Oh, I love John Brockman. He really brings a fire, a passion, and intensity to this game. I am redundant in my redundancy, but that's okay. John Brockman is a type of player that is a pillar of a program. You can build your program around somebody who plays as hard as he does.
Almost another steal by Washington. Pondexter defending Marcel Jones, who comes back with it, goes beyond the arc, and then misses the three. Picked off by Denman. They've got a 2-on-2 break. And he takes it all the way. Nice move by Denman.
Oh, that is nice. Jason Denman, a little hesitation right near the free throw line. Gets the lane to open up and just explodes through for the finish.
6 straight points after the timeout, and that forces Jay John to take time.
And his defense. I mean, Quincy Pondexter doing a nice job with ball pressure. There's John Brockman right there. Floods the passing lane. Shows some hops on the finish and the fire and the passion that I talked about. And then JD, Justin Denman, little hesitation right there. Gets that defender to his right side to close out on the pass to the right, and that opens things up for him to get to the basket.
We were telling you how young this team is. I mean, they are one of the youngest teams in America, and fans, we want to let you know that you've got a chance to see these Washington Huskies and Oregon State Beavers this year's Pac-10 tournament in Los Angeles, March 7th to 10th. And you can also watch the women's tournament in San Jose, March 2nd through the 5th. Just log on to pac10.org for your chance to win tickets today. Inside goes Kyle Jeffers, got the angle on Spencer Hawes and cuts the Husky lead to 1.
One thing Jim Shaw talked about with Kyle Jeffers, he's effective 3 ways in scoring. That was one of those ways when you allow him to catch that basketball in the post where he does have that angle just to take one step, go strong to the basket.
And that will be a turnover against the University of Washington. They have suffered 6 already in this game. 10.5 minutes remaining in the first half. And there's Lorenzo Romar. We had a delightful time with Lorenzo at practice yesterday. You know, he was talking about his research that he's been doing on Washington history for parallels to the season a few years ago when they lost their first 5, and he admitted that coaches do that when they're losing.
He said he came up with about 100 different parallels to that year. The best one being they have their next 5 of 7 here at home.
That was the 2004 season when Washington lost their first 5 league games, then won 14 of their next 16 to make the NCAA tournament. Denton's bump, but no foul call as Washington playing with that wrist heavily taped, and they throw it away. Huskies, that's one reason that Oregon State's still in it, and Josh Tarver goes down and throws it in. And the Beavers again with a 1-point lead.
You talked about that season, 0-5. Nate Robinson hit a big shot, I think, against Oregon State to send that game into overtime. The Huskies win that. They go on to get into the NCAA tournament, lose a close game to UAB in the first round, but just a terrific turnaround by that team of Brandon Roy and Will Conroy and Mike Jensen.
Ball still belongs to Oregon State, but that was a game that Oregon State had like an 18-point lead in. Washington roared back on the road in Corvallis, and after suffering 5 straight losses, you'd think their confidence would be down, but Lorenzo Romar loved the fire in that team.
But Brandon Burmeister, he was here for that, and I asked him about just some of those parallels, and he said the main thing that Lorenzo and he as an upperclassman, a junior, keep trying to reinforce with these guys is that they got to stay together, keep playing hard, good things that happen. He thinks they're starting to turn the corner, but this game obviously is a big key.
Well, Denton tried to save it along the baseline, and they almost do, but stepping on the end line was John Brockman, and he goes flying into the corner there. A big smile on his face as he returns to the court. They love that hustle here at Bank of America.
He'll pursue the ball all the way to Renton. I mean, there's just no quit in John Brockman, and it's got to be inspirational in terms of firing up his teammates as hard as he plays.
Washington defended by Ryan Appleby as Jones trying to post up on Phil Nelson. That could be a hole on Phil Nelson. It will be a personal foul on Phil, his first of the game.
I talked about some unsung hero as one of the keys to the game for Oregon State to have a chance to win this game. They're up by 1 here early, but you can sense the momentum going in Washington's way. But Jack McGillis on the floor now, he's one of those guys. Seth Tarver, the brother of Josh, is a very athletic, explosive player who struggled with his offense.
And Seth had a foot problem. They think it might be plantar fasciitis, and that has set him back from his practices. He is a true freshman. Seth Tarver with the ball now, number 13 out of Portland Jesuit High School.
This is the zone lineup Oregon State has on the floor.
Schoftenar misses the easy layup, and those are the easy ones they've got to make sure they put down. Appleby wide open, missing the shot. Denton chasing it down in the corner, tries to save it to Appleby and does. Nelson can't finish. Washington out-rebounds Artem Wallace for it. Spencer Hawes has not played much in this first half. He has not only suffered the ankle sprain, but had a virus where he lost 15 pounds, so he's on the sideline.
And you can see it in this game, watching him in the last 3 weeks that he's had this virus. He's just not the same player that had the opportunity to watch play in high school, watch play against LSU when he lit up big baby Glenn Davis.
This time Shoftenard does finish, and he has the ability to see the seams in that zone. That's 3 times now he has found a gap, and finally hits the field goal. Here's Nelson.
That'd give John Brockman some touches inside against Shoftenard just to see what Shoftenard's interior defense is about.
Instead, it goes to Artem Wallace, and there is a whistle before he took the shot down along that block. Again, our 3 officials, Tom Wood, Randy McCall, and Don Tuggle. Personal foul on Kyle Jeffers, his first of the game, but OSU right now breaking apart the gaps in that Washington defense, and it is Rulon Shoftenar with the layup. In the first half, Oregon State on a 6-0 run, leads by 3. We've got a terrific game coming your way tomorrow evening. 8 o'clock East Coast time, 5 o'clock on the West. Number 3 UCLA at Stanford. Maples Pavilion. It was rocking on Thursday as the Cardinal beat number 25 USC. Aaron Aflalo's just playing some great ball of lady at 25 and like 21 in the second half at Cal. And Anthony Good, you see his numbers, but what you don't see is sometimes he's getting that basketball to Brooke Lopez. Lopez with a triple-double on Thursday.
Triple-double the hard way with the 12 block shots to go along with 18 points, 11 rebounds. There's another turnover by the Huskies.
And there is Seth Tarver missing. Boy, that was an easy one.
Yeah, sometimes they're too easy. You see too wide open, too much time to think about it. But Washington better do a better job of taking care of the basketball because Oregon State is gaining confidence.
Down low, it's John Brockman, and he drops it home. Brockman such a load inside. He is 4 for 4 from the floor now.
Go inside against the Dutchman. Nobody that wears wooden shoes is going to guard me. I don't care how tall you are. Wooden shoes,
Shoftenar from the Netherlands. And right now he's trying to post up on Artem Wallace.
But he's giving us some good production. He's missed one layup, made one, but he's gotten open inside.
Hey, you know what? You talked about there has to be an unsung hero. Could that be Josh Tarver?
They keep going underneath the screen out top, and Josh Tarver can bury that 3-point shot. Now, for the season, he's shooting around 25% from long range, but he's getting such an open look, and he's a better shooter than those numbers would suggest. Another turnover.
And controlled by Seth Tarver.
And that's just being careless with the ball for John Brockman, which you don't normally see.
Appleby on Seth Tarver. Josh's brother will come out top. He's the point guard. Getting it low. Pretty pass inside to a dunking Kyle Jeffers.
Again, porous defense on the part of the Huskies. Brockman out of position. Allows Jeffers a chance just to catch, turn, and finish.
Detman inside, but Washington with 9 turnovers, allowing Oregon State not only to stay in this game, but have a 4-point lead as the Beavers have scored 8 points off those 9 turnovers.
Both teams need to really try and toughen up defensively inside. Just both teams are scoring way too easily.
There's another easy catch by Jeffers and dropping it over John Brockman.
I mean, you need a little bit more ball pressure on the outside, but you just cannot allow that pass over the top inside to Kyle Jeffers, who averages 6 points a game and pretty much matched that here in the first half.
Detman inside to Brockman, swings at baseline. Phil Nelson, who drains the 3.
For the Huskies, I mean, we know they can produce points, even though in Pac-10 play they're down to 73 points a game compared to 88 points a game against non-conference foes. But they better really try and concentrate and put some more effort at the defensive end.
Well, Seth Tarver's not playing well, and he throws it away. Just that decision by Seth to get in the air when his eyes were looking at the hoop. He jumps in the air and then makes the decision on who he wants to pass it to. By then, all the options were closed, and he just threw it back towards the timeline.
Well, the plantar fasciitis, you talked about the foot injury to Seth Tarver, and you see his brother Josh Tarver there. His confidence is down. He's a guy that is really explosive, really athletic. He didn't have that aspect to his game, so it's tough for him to figure out how to be productive out there on the floor without that explosion. But, you know, and give him a year, give him a chance to get healthy. He's going to be a tremendous player. But this year is pretty much been brutal for him. It's been a learning experience, and he's played very inconsistent basketball, but he's just a freshman.
Meantime, Lorenzo Romar getting some experience on the floor, bringing in Brandon Burmeister and Hans Gasser. Both are the only seniors on the team. Burmeister can rip it and drains the three from the corner.
Mercer Island special. Brandon Burmeister, I call him a junior. He's actually a senior, as you mentioned, Steve, and that's what he does. Spot up, shoot the long ball.
His father played football for the Huskies back in the 1970s. His dad, Bob. His son chose basketball instead, and there is Jeffers again ripping apart this Washington defense, which has not been that strong in this game.
Jeffers with the dunk fest so far in this game.
Detman can't get it to go, tries to hand it off to Artem Wallace, but it goes out of bounds, and it'll be Huskies basketball. And Jeffers wanted the foul. He said he was shoved from the back.
And Coach Shaw talked about Jeffers yesterday in practice. You allow him to get the basketball in good position to score. As Brandon Burmeister a little slow rotating down to prevent that interior pass. He's limited. That's the extent of what he can do offensively, but he is getting a whole lot of that here in the first half.
Burmeister trying to inbounds, finally does to Adrian Oliver. Appleby, they've covered up his three shooting very well. When they played zone, that zone defense has really stretched itself.
And it helps to have Jack McGillis at 6'7", 6'8" right there. Shadowing Appleby, although he gets the foul trying to contest the jump shot. But he's a big player to kind of shoot over. He's quick enough a foot to stay with him on the floor. And man, looks like a little contact underneath he got the basketball, but thought that contact should have been ignored by the officials.
And they need Jack McGillis because he brings an energy that has not been seen that often at Oregon State this year. Fearless, very aggressive performer, and their best defender, but got beat by Ryan Appleby on that occasion.
Yeah, and can knock down the three-point shot. He's a good shooter who really put a lot of work in this offseason on shooting off the dribble and not allowing himself to be pigeonholed as a straight catch and shoot guy.
Appleby hits the free throws and ties the game at 33. Ryan, a 90% foul shooter.
And run some more screens for Josh Tarver and see if the Huskies continue to go underneath and see if he can continue to knock down some shots.
McGillis. Josh Tarver. They still had 16 left in the shot clock. Almost looked like he rushed the shot and misses, and a foul will be called against Oregon State. We've got a timeout on the floor. With 3 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the first half, we're tied with Washington and Oregon State. Kyle Jeffers might be that unsung hero that Oregon State needs to have to beat Washington today.
And Jim Shaw, the Washington coach, talked about Kyle Jeffers. He needs to dribble to his right to score. They allow him to do that. He needs to get you on his hip to score. On this post feed, they're going to see he does that against John Brockman inside. They talked about him offensive rebound, and that's a pass over the top, not an offensive rebound, but those are the types of things that Kyle Jeffers can do to hurt you. And you've got to be aware of him now because he's got 12 points. He averages 6 points for the season, so he's doubled his normal production and has given his team a lot of confidence that they can hang in there with this Washington team.
Sasha Chuis missing, and the rebound by Adrian Oliver, a very fine athlete from Fresno, California. Detman tries to save it, does not. Jones gets it ahead, and Marcel on the drive is fouled. I think the Washington fans thought there was a travel, but it looked like Jones was bumped as he came to that jump stop.
Well, after he spins and gets the basketball, Jack McGillis was actually open ahead, and I'm not sure Marcel didn't see him and kind of stumbled around with the ball like, oh, I can't gather myself and make the pass here to you, Jack, so I got to shoot it. And winds up getting fouled and getting to the free throw line, which he's done a better job of, but give it up early. Jack McGillis was open for a wide open layup.
It is the third foul on Artem Wallace, so they're going to have to take him out of the game, and out he comes, and John Brockman in. But how about Spencer Hawes? He played about 3 minutes in this first half, and I'm not sure if it's the virus or the ankle sprain. We watched practice yesterday, and he was involved in the whole practice, but he has been on the sideline much of the game. Hawes coming off a 15-point effort in their win over Oregon Thursday.
Yeah, he said he's just trying to get his strength back, and with something like that, I think it's more of a day-to-day situation. This may be a day where he's not feeling as well as he felt Thursday night. And you know, he lost 15 pounds. It plagued him for 3 weeks. He missed a lot of practice time.
Detman may have forced that one. Tarver ahead to Marcel Jones. Great catch. Tried to feed it to Chewich, but it is knocked out of bounds by Brandon Burmeister. Well, if Jones doesn't make it in basketball, he might in football as a wide receiver, because he's had a couple of great catches on deep passes in this game.
Not sure if he has the heart. It's a lot easier making those catches out here when you don't have a defensive back or a free safety bearing down on you. But he has shown some athleticism, great hands, and ability to finish in traffic.
Well, we saw one basketball player from the state of Oregon go from basketball to football. Jordan Kent, the son of Ernie Kent, fine wide receiver for the Ducks. And Josh Tarver now throws it away, and they're allowing the Huskies to get right back and stay in this game. And Detman, with a beautiful move, spins and scores and puts the Huskies up by 1. Justin Detman coming off a career-high 24-point game in their win over Oregon with 10 already.
I tell you, and Adrian Oliver's doing it. You got to pressure Wesley Washington, because he's got that big white bandage on his right hand. He's not a great ball handler anyway. So you know he's not completely 100% and feeling comfortable handling the basketball.
And check that the last bucket by Detman gives him 12 in the first half.
Yeah, so he's come on after the couple of turnovers to start this game and done a nice job. You're going to see a nice little spin move here. Little teardrop kiss off the glass inside. And here's the foul as Josh Tarver does a nice job staying aggressive and using his body to ward off Justin Detman. But I talked about Wesley Washington, and he's a guy that's not a great ball handler anyway. And you see that hand, how heavily taped it is. You got to put a lot of pressure on him. Slap at that hand, slap at that hand.
The foul was before the shot, so the Beavers get it out of bounds. There's Josh at the point against the Washington defense.
And they've got Adrian Oliver 6'3" on Sasha Chewich. You got to take advantage of that. They try, but Chewich gets out-muscled by the smaller man, Adrian Oliver.
Brockman kind of ripping it away from everybody, and then they call a foul against Marcel Jones, who got slammed to the floor. And Jones taking his time to get up. But there's a guy, John Brockman, who goes 6'7", 260. This is a guy who easily could play football.
Yeah, and Oregon State, there's Adrian Oliver just flinging down Sasha Chewich, 6'10", 250, like a rag doll inside. And talking about rag dolls, John Brockman will sling you around like one if you're not careful. But Oregon State, I mean, they played hard. They've played aggressive. They're right there up or down by 1 point at this stage of the game. Now, can they sustain that in the second half, which has been a problem for Jay John all season long?
They have sent Washington to the free throw line. That was the 8th team foul on OSU, so 1 plus the penalty for John Brockman. Our Acura halftime report. We'll watch North Carolina. They got a convincing victory over number 17 Arizona in Tucson today. First half analysis and highlights and stats, and a look ahead at some college games we'll have on FSN for you, including a terrific one tomorrow with UCLA at Stanford. Josh Tarver at the point. Jeffers setting screens for Chewich.
Sasha has 1 field goal in 6 attempts. Another no-show night so far with all his talent. That's just
bad pass by Jones.
Yep.
Detman, good move and finish.
Loves that little ball fake in transition to 2-on-1. Gets the defender to bite. If you're a defender, you're better off just kind of watching his body, trying to pick up the offensive foul, because 90% of the time he's not going to give that up.
If they are to get back to the NCAA tournament, Justin Detman will be the key. He has 14 first half points, an 8-1 Washington lead run here.
And again, that's where Josh Tarver has just got to kind of stay right focused on that number 5 and not move, not budge from that number 5 and not allow Justin Detman to get that angle. But again, a great job by Justin. The little ball fake, the pass fake coming down 2-on-1, and that's one of his little pet moves that he does.
Coming off a brilliant game in their victory over Oregon and 14 on 5 of 8 shooting from the floor. Remember, no Pac-10 team has ever made the NCAA tournament without a winning conference record. The Huskies must win 8 of its last 10 inside the Pac-10 to finish 10-8 in the league. The good news is they're great at home, and 5 of their next 7 are home games after they open 5 of 7 on the road.
But it is conceivable. I don't know how realistic, but I think if you finish 500 in the Pac-10 with the strength of this conference this year, this could be a year where you might be able to get into the NCAA tournament, because the conference from top to bottom is so strong. And they do it all the time in the ACC.
Exactly. And right now, the Pac-10 #1 in RPI, and they're the only team in college basketball with 5 teams in the top 25. Only conference in college basketball with that. Denton commits his 2nd personal foul.
I can remember a year when Jim Harrod's Georgia team down in the SEC finished 500 in that conference when they were tough, and they were able to get into the NCAA tournament. So finishing 500, which is still going to be a chore for this Washington team the way they've started out.
Now, at the beginning of the week, the Pac-10 was #1 in RPI over the ACC, but during the week, the ACC has had some impressive wins, including that North Carolina win today over Arizona. So that right now they have the RPI edge, but the ACC does not have 5 teams in the top 25.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was thinking if Stanford can beat UCLA tomorrow, I think they deserve to be in the top 25. And right now, Stanford number 36 in the nation, according to the Associated Press.
Yeah, they're right there on the bubble of bursting into that top 25, and they've got a chance with the way the Lopez twins are playing, the way Lawrence Hill is playing. But John Brockman, Washington overall, Lorenzo Romo is going to give them a halftime lecture on turnovers, taking care of the basketball, valuing the ball. 10 turnovers here in the first half for the Huskies.
Huskies, though, have their largest lead. He'll take Dentman out, who has 2 fouls, and with 42 seconds left, why take a chance?
This has been the MO for the Oregon State Beavers. Play a good, spirited first 20 minutes, and then come out and lay an egg in the second half. Can they keep it up? That's going to be the challenge for them.
Sasha Chuich pulls Oregon State to within 1 of Washington with 20 seconds to go. Timeout called. Well, again, Lorenzo Romar with this very young team. We told you underclassmen account for 80% of the scoring, 87% of the rebounding. So he wants to make sure all 5 are on the same page in the final 26 seconds of this first half.
And you got to be aware that Sasha Chuich last year led the conference in 3-point field goal percentage, not shooting the ball as well this season, but he's got the potential to burn you from long range. So you've got to do a better job of contesting that, making him put it on the floor and try and do something off the dribble where he is nowhere near as effective.
17, and they're lost to Washington State on Thursday, but they didn't shoot the ball well, only hitting 36% from the floor. We're out rebounded by 7. But we've got 5 teams in the top 25, starting with number 3 UCLA. Aaron Aflalo and Luke Richard Mbamute are playing just great basketball. Number 7 Oregon losing Thursday, and now they've got a tough game against Washington State. How about number 17 Arizona? They may be knocked out after losing badly to North Carolina. Number 20 Washington State hosting Oregon tonight. And then you've got number 25 USC, an important game after hours at California.
That's the beauty of this conference. Washington, they were in early. They go out. Washington State comes in. Arizona may be leaving, but Stanford may be coming in. That's how tough this Pac-10 conference is this season, as Washington looks to produce a quality shot here on this possession.
Appleby was hit as he took the 3, misses the shot. It goes to Brockman, and he scores.
And no foul called on the 3-point attempt, but a nice job. John Brockman just doing yeoman's work on the backboards.
He did not miss a shot in the first half. Big John Brockman, 5 for 5, 12 points, 3 rebounds, and he gives the Huskies a 3-point edge at the break.
Yeah, no call, good no call on the shot by Appleby. That was incidental contact on the outside, but that's just John Brockman. And what happens is that he bangs Kyle Jeffers initially, gets inside position, and puts himself in a position to score that bucket before halftime.
So both teams going to the respective locker rooms. Oregon State trying to win their 10th. Washington trying to go 3-6 in conference play. The Acura halftime report comes your way after this, with the Huskies leading Oregon State by 3. Hit by Phil Nelson, who picks up his 3rd personal foul.
A lot of whistles blown here early in the second half. Marcel Jones does a nice job establishing position on the inside. Good feed by Kyle Jeffers out top. There's a little chicken wing to get a slight advantage defensively, and the principle of verticality the fans think should be in effect. But I thought Phil Nelson extended a little bit too far away from his body. Hands straight up, you can do that. Hands go out. Offensive player draws contact. It's going to be a foul.
Marcel Jones, a 60% foul shooter, misses the first. Quincy Pondexter will come in for the foul playing Phil Nelson, who leaves with 3 fouls. So Pondexter, the freshman, who didn't even take a shot in the first half in 7 minutes, comes back in. And here's a kid who's averaging almost 13 points per game.
Had a couple of 20-point games here, season high 25 points early earlier in the year, but it's been a no-show today.
Brockman 7 of 8 shooting from the floor, and the Huskies have their biggest lead of the afternoon, 47-40 over Oregon State.
I talked about Oregon State kind of keeping the intensity. That time transition defense. They were in their home run trot, allowed an easy layup for Brockman.
And Josh Tarver with too easy of a look against that Washington defense.
And Tarver's been able to get there against Denton. Get there, get into the paint, cause a little trouble.
Appleby, his first look for a wide open 3, and he does what you expect him to do.
Tarver didn't get there then defensively. He got hung up on the screen, kind of stumbled out, and you can't give Appleby any time, let alone a nice job setting his feet.
Chewich is fouled, and he'll be at the line for 2 shots. Second personal foul on John Brockman.
And you see Tarver get caught up on that screen underneath, kind of double over and makes no effort to close out after the initial contact of the screen. You got to keep fighting through that thing, make a fly at Ryan Appleby, put it on the floor for a dribble or 2, and rely on help from a teammate if he blows by you.
Well, Oregon State's not taking advantage of any opportunity. They have missed their last 3 foul shots. Marcel Jones missed a pair. Now Chewich misses the first of a 2-shot opportunity. He's been limited to only 5 points after averaging over 13 this year. He makes the second. And Jay John, this might be the test in the game.
Yeah, it's almost like they're settling for the moral victory. Hey, we stayed close for a half. We've done our jobs. No, your job is not over. It's a 40-minute game, and the way Washington has played this afternoon with the lack of scoring from Pondexter and some of these other guys. And it's a game that Oregon State has a chance to make competitive.
Appleby, long. Pondexter gets his own rebound. Has it stripped by Jeffers, but they'll call a personal foul against Oregon State.
Another rebound, offensive rebound. Talked about pounding the boards is one of the keys. Here's Ryan Appleby with the miss, and Quincy Pondexter does a good job of just out hustling Wesley Washington. He's bigger, more athletic, longer than Wesley Washington, so he should come up with that, but you still got to put forth the effort.
Pondexter makes it an 8-point game. Spencer Hawes coming back in. He only played 8 minutes in the first half and scored just 2 points.
And since you know that he's going to be on the floor for limited minutes, I think a couple of things should happen as an offensive philosophy. Go to him. As a defensive philosophy, go at him. We'll see what his strength level, his endurance level is like.
Oregon State going through a real difficult stretch to open the second half, and they throw it away.
A good rotation that time by Quincy Pondexter. That'll get him more playing time, if not back in the starting lineup.
Dentman with the turnover. He had 3 quick ones in the first half. Now he'll talk with a guy who was a point guard at Washington years ago, Lorenzo Romar. Romar had the luxury of having Brandon Roy last year along with Justin Dentman. We thought Dentman had a terrific freshman year, but anytime you've got a guy who as skilled as Brandon Roy next to you, it takes a lot of pressure off of a freshman.
Yeah, and also Bobby Jones, a double-figure scorer. Jamal Williams, a double-figure scorer.
And Pondexter taking it up and in and pushes Washington's lead to 11.
Pondexter starting to assert himself. You saw it with the offensive rebound that time out in transition, and that's the Quincy Pondexter that the Huskies recruited.
Huskies trying to win their 2nd straight. After beating number 7 Oregon on Thursday, they're taking control of this game in the second half, opening up an 11-point lead on Oregon State. Washington on a 13-3 run to open up an 11-point lead on Oregon State. The ACC Sunday Night Hoops presented by Pizza Hut returns tomorrow with a doubleheader beginning with 24th ranked Virginia Tech taking on Georgia Tech. Then Boston College looks to upset 10th ranked Duke. Coverage begins with the college basketball tip-off show tomorrow at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on FSN. The third part of that triple header on FSN. Terrific Pac-10 matchup with Stanford entertaining number 3 UCLA. Seth Tarver back in the game, missing the shot. He's made some tough decisions in this game, and none have paid off. Here's Pondexter on the offensive end for Washington.
Well, Seth, we talked about the lack of explosion because of the foot injury. But for Oregon, State, they've got to do a better job blocking the Huskies off the offensive glass. 13 offensive rebounds.
Appleby, beautiful dish inside to Brockman. Brockman with 19 points. 8 of 10 shooting from the floor, doing most of his work either on dunks or layups or stickbacks.
And he's just beating down the big guys of the Beavers inside.
7 second-half points for Big John Brockman.
Great hands, does a great job moving and establishing and doing his dirty work early inside.
Jack McGillis over Pondexter scores and cuts into that 15-3 run that Washington's been on. Spencer Hawes with a little jump hook, and he rolls it in.
And there you saw an example of the lack of strength by Spencer Hawes as he gets knocked off balance, still able to knock down the shot, but he got bumped about 3 feet away from where he wanted to land.
Washington beginning to take control here at the Bank of America Arena in Seattle, Washington. Oregon State back in the floor trying to get back in this game. Right now they trail by 13 because of the inside power and strength of John Brockman.
Yeah, Brockman has done a nice job just establishing position. Appleby's found him anytime he's penetrated. And then Brockman has done it on his own with some great anticipation out there for that steal and jam inside. And it's just the hustle, you know, the hustle, the diving after the loose balls, all those intangible things that you like in your big guy. And then even here, coming off a double screen, Ryan Appleby finds John Brockman one again. So those two have done a nice job working off each other.
John Brockman with a terrific game. His career high is 25 points. He did that back in November this year against Pepperdine. He has 19 to go with 6 rebounds, and he's doing with great efficiency. He's only taken 10 shots, made 8.
But defensively, I mean, Sasha Chuich has been quiet, not heard from when John Brockman has got up in him. They went at it a little bit early in this game, some elbows thrown, some words exchanged. And so far it's been Brockman to be the one that produces after that little exchange. Sasha just keeps pinning his hair back with the little barrette he's got in his hair.
Anytime the foul goes on against Appleby, as Brockman now will come out.
It's like Sergeant Carter, the old Gomer Pyle series. Remember Sergeant Carter?
And now how did he have a chance to do that with his crew cut? Well, Chuich then backs it up by then missing completely a 3.
Pin your hair back. Shoot the 3, run back. Antics adjust the elbow pad. Crowd gets on him. And Jay John is like, it's like, boy, oh boy, I can't wait till C.J. Giles gets eligible for next year.
Yeah, they need some greater athletes because they have not shown the great
Nice
consistency.
snap. Oh, that's nice.
And there is Brockman going for 21 points now.
Yeah, that is nice. John Brockman just playing smart basketball. Intelligent basketball right there. Comes up. And just Justin Dittman's great job on the feed, but it was Brockman who made the play happen, reading how the defender was going to play him.
He was the #1 prospect in the West. Both Washington and Duke were battling for his services coming out of high school. His sister, though, went to Washington. She was a fine basketball player, 2002-2003 season. And he wanted to stay here locally. To Snohomish Washington High School, who I see is #2 in the state rankings, 4A. So Brockman completes the three-point play, comes out with 22 points. Oregon State was within 3 at the break, but it's all Huskies in the second half. Hans Gasser comes in to play with Justin Dentman, Ryan Appleby, Spencer Hawes, and Quincy Pondexter.
Oregon is falling, Oregon State falling victim to something that's plagued them, and just droughts offensively, finding any type of scoring. Now Washington has picked up their defensive intensity a bit, but
nice feed by Jones to Chewich for an easy 2.
And that's how they produce points in the first half. Penetrate, do something on the interior, cause the Huskies to come over and switch, and then Huskies have not done a good job of rotating down from the weak side to prevent the pass and the easy shots in the paint.
Spencer Hawes goes baseline as he got it on the low post, backed off, and the defense backed off, and he just nails a 15-footer.
This season is the turnaround for the Washington Huskies, like it did about 3 years ago under Nate Robinson and Brandon Roy, and that crew started off 0-5. Spencer Hawes' health is going to be a big factor in that.
McGillis misses the entire iron on a three-point attempt. Dentman drives into the teeth of the defense and is fouled. Boy, I like his leadership, his toughness. He didn't start until last game against Oregon, and he had sat 5 straight. And his coach said, you've got to work harder. We need you to be tougher. We need you to be more aggressive, but aggressive with a purpose.
And he admitted, you know, just watching what some other Huskies, Nate Robinson has done in the NBA, what Brandon Roy is doing this year as one of the leading candidates for Rookie of the Year. He kind of got caught up in the internet and the websites and reading about himself and his potential. And he's the oldest of 6 children from a family back in Carbondale, Illinois. He was thinking about maybe going to the NBA one day, and his play was affected. Now he's like, hey, I may be here for the duration. I've accepted that. I've just got to take it one game, one possession at a time. And he's done that Thursday. He's done that after the first couple of minutes of turning the ball over. He's done that so far in this game.
It's amazing how successful individually you can be when your focus is the team. Here's Pondexter. He has it blocked by Chewich, who goes down hard. Excuse me, Jack McGillis, who goes down hard. You can see the frustration now etched in the faces of the Oregon State Beavers.
If that would have been Chewich, that would have been a dunk. Jack McGillis has no quit in him. He's going to run the play down, get up there, and woo, and challenge that.
Sure did.
A little body maybe on the low end with that left arm, but that's Jack McGillis showing that he can cover the cup when need be.
And you know, with players like Jones and McGillis coming back with Josh Tarver, and you talked about C.J. Giles, who would be eligible for the second semester next year, and you really like the looks of Calvin Haynes, who was at a prep school this year, who would have really helped this year.
Yeah, Calvin Haynes out of Taft High School in Los Angeles. It's a prep school to get his grades together, but he's a 6'3", strong body, lefty, great medium range game, who brings an extreme amount of toughness to the floor, and that's one of the things that the Beavers could use this year.
This is the best I've seen 1 through 8 in the Pac-10 this year in 20 years. And it's going to be even better next year with guys like Jared Bayless going to Arizona, Kevin Love coming down to UCLA, and Giles you talked about, and Calvin Haynes.
Yeah, so Josh Tarver does a nice job with the spin move. And guys like Josh Tarver, Seth Tarver will be sophomores next year. Washington's got Darnell Gant out of Crenshaw High School, my alma mater, who's a top player in this country. Justin Holiday from Campbell Hall in Los Angeles. Matthew Bryant, a Manning, who, talking to their assistant coach, was talking about him being maybe more skilled than any of the freshmen they're recruiting.
The whole league is going to be that much better. And then, of course, O.J. Mayo bringing in strength to USC. Their program's going to take off at the Galen Center.
O.J. Mayo,
a terrific coach, and Tim Floyd.
Devon Jefferson, that's a name that people hadn't talked about a lot because he's been out of high school for a couple of years, but he could be an impact for USC next year. These guys will be a year older, much like that Oregon team last year that lost 8 games by 3 points or less. Now they're winning those games with Bryce Taylor and Aaron Brooks and Malik Harrison and that crew. Washington, I think, will be in much the same position to win those close games that they've lost, like the 2 overtime games at the start of the Pac-10 season, a 1-point loss at Stanford.
And Lorenzo Romar wanted this team to have confidence early. He had an easy early schedule and had them 10-1 before Pac-10 play. But the conference so strong this year, any mistake, it's going to cost you. And they openly play at 2-6. Jones against Pondexter. Marcel sneaking inside and misses, but is bumped by Pondexter, who commits the personal foul, his first. Time out on the floor, 11:56 left. Huskies opening up a 19-point lead on Oregon State. It's been outstanding year of Pac-10 basketball, and who will be the player of the week this week? I mean, you've got to flip a coin with so many talented players playing and playing so well, but USC is the reigning Pac-10 player of the week, and Nick Young, he averaged 24 points in a sweep of the Arizona schools first, scoring 30 against Arizona, and then going to town against Arizona State as the Trojans came over with 2 wins to move into the top 25 for the first time in 5 years. Nick Young, the U.S. Bank Pac-10 player of the week.
Wow, Marcel Jones just shoots the air ball out there. But I tell you, Pac-10 player of the week, I think it boils down to the game we're going to do tomorrow.
Yep.
Early evening. Maples Pavilion, Aaron Aflalo and Brooke Lopez. Brooke Lopez coming off the triple-double. Aaron Aflalo off the 25-point drubbing of Cal, 21 of those in the second half. So I think whoever can shine in that game has a great chance.
Spencer Hawes outside. And we will have that Stanford hosting UCLA game tomorrow at 5 o'clock West Coast time on FSN. 2 earlier ACC games and then the Pac-10 clash.
So, you know, folks out there, get warmed up, whet your appetite with some of the AC ball, and then get ready for the real basketball. 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Stanford, UCLA. It's going to be a good one, as the Lopez twins will be a handful. It'll be interesting to see what Ben Holland comes up with to deal with those two.
12th turnover for Jay John, but you're right, because I thought USC might have the edge with athleticism and the ability to spread the floor, but Stanford's defense was so good in their man defense.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is that I think Lawrence Hill, who did a nice job on Nick Young Thursday, will be matched up against Aaron Aflalo, and he has the size at 6'7", 6'8", and he's pretty quick of foot defensively, so it'll be interesting. And then, you know, it's pretty easy. All you want to do is funnel him inside. Make him drive. Go ahead. Take it to the basket, Aaron. We got 2 7-footers who eat leather inside in the Lopez twins.
It's really been a fun year watching Pac-10 basketball this year. Every single game has been absolutely terrific, and I think we've got another good one tonight in Pullman, Washington. Oregon, with Aaron Brooks back in there, he's well rested, taking on a Washington State team that right now is 17-3 and tied for 2nd place in the Pac-10.
And I love what Lorenzo Romar did here Thursday night when the student section started chanting "overrated" at the Oregon Ducks when the Huskies were up by double digits late in the game. Lorenzo said, no, shut up, stop that. They are not overrated. You know, this is a team without Aaron Brooks that's one of the best in the country. And the student section, to their credit, they stopped chanting "overrated" and gave the Ducks their due.
You got to kill them with kindness, because you got to go to their place, and you know how difficult it is to steal a win at backcourt.
It's a very good Oregon team. Tony Bennett's done an outstanding job at Washington State with those defensive-minded Cougars who he has freed up offensively.
Ryan Appleby, they gave him the lane, and then he misses the layup. Pondexter battling with Josh Tarver for the rebound, and it will be a held ball, and the basketball will belong to the Huskies.
It is Ryan Appleby once again on the penetration, trying to get in there and get something going, and he does that. Just can't finish off the play. But you know, we're talking about these Beavers and the next year, C.J. Giles, Rainier Beach High School, and all the great players out of Rainier Beach, Doug Christian, Jamal Crawford, the Stewart twins, Lodrick and Roderick, Nate Robinson.
Adrian Oliver, a 3 from the right wing.
Modesto Christian High School, one game within a state title, 2-time All-State player Adrian Oliver, just a freshman, 6'3", very, very smart offensive player, good position defensive player. He's got a bright future here in Seattle for Lorenzo Romar.
And they're bringing in a talented off guard Justin Holiday, who can also play the point.
Justin Holiday, who has a pretty good younger brother too, by the name of Drew J-R-U-E Holiday, who a lot of teams are on big time. So you can get like Oregon State with the brother coup. If you can get both those Holiday boys in here, where it's going to be tough because UCLA and a bunch of schools are after Drew.
Pondexter a little bit too much without an opening really for Oliver. He was running along the baseline, sprinting in his catch. Well, there are the numbers by the half.
Man.
You saw Washington only led by 3.
Yeah, Washington coming alive in the second half. And again, Oregon State, though, I thought more because of their lack of intensity in the second half, and you know, losing it's a culture. You know, it permeates your thought process, and all of a sudden a couple of things go wrong, and yeah, you have a tendency to kind of shut it down intensity-wise.
You know, they had a 6-point lead in the first half. Their focus was good. I think their confidence was up. They were only trailing by 3 at the half. But in the first 2 minutes of the second half, when they turned the ball over, all of a sudden you could see the doubt beginning to creep into their minds, like what's going to go wrong now.
And what went wrong, one of the things, John Brockman started to really assert himself on the inside, and that's one of the advantages that he had against Sasa Chuich and Kyle Jeffers and Marcel Jones is his ability to overpower this Oregon State front line, and he has done that beautifully tonight.
Pondexter to Oliver, and he hits outside. That's just a 2. He had his foot inside the 3-point arc.
Now they're just playing spot and pop. Penetrate, spot up, kick it out, and knock down open shots.
Well, Washington will win their 13th today. Meantime, they always have to take care of business. They have to beat teams like Oregon State, and that makes it going on the road so important next Thursday when they take on Arizona State.
Yep, it's got to be. Victories are so hard to come by. Now you better beat those teams you're supposed to beat.
Well, tomorrow night, Pac-10 basketball returns to FSN when number 3 UCLA and Aaron Aflalo take on the Stanford Cardinal, and triple-double threat Brooke Lopez. Points, rebounds, and blocks on Thursday. All triple-double figures as he was able to do his job. And here's the Pac-10 standings. UCLA in first place at 18-1 and 7-1 in league play, as Oregon tied with Washington State, and those two teams will meet at 7 o'clock later tonight. Stanford right back in it at 5-3, and if they can sweep UCLA, I think they'll move into the top 25.
Yeah, they've got a great chance. They've already done a nice job this season. Trent Johnson's youngsters are coming of age, especially those 2 freshman bigs inside, and Lawrence Hill having a whale of a year. Anthony Goods, a couple of 30-point games so far this season. Both those guys are sophomores.
But that UCLA defense has been so terrific this year. I mean, to limit California at home in the 40s.
Limit them to 46 points, and Allende Ibaka, now they're saying he was kind of under the weather, but Aaron Aflalo will do that to you.
Yeah.
You get that Aflalo flu.
Yeah, Marcus Williams for Arizona was, it seemed like Aflalo put him under the weather.
Aflalo flu. The Aflalo flu.
You know, through the first half, I've got to put Aaron Aflalo, Aaron Brooks at the top for Player of the Year race.
Yeah, I could not argue there. And, you know, just on GP, because of how well the Cougars have played, it's tough to pick a guy to put in that mix. And Aaron.
They're going to have the Coach of the Year.
Yeah, the Coach of the Year, but two Aarons. But Kyle Weaver, to me, has been a real glue guy for them. So I'd have to at least give him some consideration. But again, hands down, Aaron Aflalo, Aaron Brooks, runaway 2 leading candidates right now in the first half of Pac-10 basketball for the most valuable player.
And the ball appeared to go off the head of either Jones or Brockman and out of bounds. And John Brockman having a yeoman day's work, as he just a terrific game with 22 points and 7 rebounds. Only missed 2 shots, 9 of 11 from the floor. Washington on the road next week at Arizona State, then Arizona. Chuich defended by Brockman.
But you're in a position, if you're Washington, I mean, this is still some teaching experience going on for these guys. You got to play hard. You got to finish this thing through playing hard. You cannot be affected, even though it's almost impossible, be affected by the scoreboard. because you're trying to turn that corner back into Pac-10 respectability and throw yourself back into the hunt.
McGillis picks up his 4th personal foul. Jay John, he's had such a difficult time this year. Inexperience in the backcourt with the Tarbers, and Wesley Washington not really a shooter, so they're limited on the range. I mean, their better 3 shooters are their forwards and centers.
Yeah, and you got an Angelo Sagarakis who can knock down a 3, but he doesn't give Jay John the defensive effort that he wants. A bad break that Seth Tarver has the plantar fasciitis in the foot, so he didn't have the explosion. I think he's a guy who's going to be like a Marcel Jones, who pretty much nothing his freshman year, and then a little bit more improvement his sophomore year, and by his junior year could be a double-digit 12 to 15 point per game scorer in the Pac-10.
Josh Tarver, McGillis, an open 3, misses long. Marcel Jones rebounding, taking it back up strong, and gets fouled. Or are they calling that an offensive foul? Well, I just saw the reaction by Marcel Jones. And maybe against John Brockman.
I think Marcel is a little banged up. John Brockman has a tendency to do that to you, and also discouraged and disappointed he didn't finish off the play for a possible 3-point shot. Because, by the way, he shot those last free throws, and the fans are letting him know about the air ball. He didn't want to get back on that line again.
No mercy.
You're not supposed to. So it gives you a home court advantage.
Well, the dog pack has been terrific here at old Heck Edmondson Arena, now Bank of America Arena, but they have really done a wonderful job in making this such an impact. I mean, we told you at the start of the game, Washington has the Pac-10's best home record over the last 2 years. They'll be 30-3 after today's game, and they'll be 13-1 at home this year. Hawes with a nice catch, feeding Brockman, who is fouled as he took it to the rack. And Brockman will be at the free throw line trying to tie his career high. He has 23 points to go with 7 rebounds today.
Good unselfish play by Spencer Hawes, who could have turned and knocked down about a 10-footer, but found Brockman underneath, and there's just John Brockman just doing what he does, but going hard.
He had 25 against Pepperdine earlier this year in November. That's number 24. His rebound best is 14, and a great effort against Big Baby Glenn Davis in LSU. So there are the numbers. Outstanding from the field, and he's had to play so many minutes because of Spencer Hawes' inability to play. So he's tied his career high with 25 points.
Talking to him before the game, Steve, he was talking about attacking big guys. He did a good job against the Lopez twins when they played Stanford, and he talked about being taught that by Jim Marsh, his AAU coach with Friends of Hoop, and how he likes to go through the throat of the big guy. That's what he said, to go through the throat. I like to go through the throat. I was like, go through the throat, John? Wow. Yeah, I was taught. Go through the throat. Just take the ball right at him, right up in their chin, and then just make them back off so that they can't block this shot. But I'm just trying to give you an idea, a feel for his mentality when he's out on the floor, so you don't want to get near him.
That sounds like Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Go through the throat. Through the throat. You try and take it through the throat.
Oregon State with just 54 points this afternoon, losing to the Washington Huskies. They were within 3 at the break, 41-38, and just played a miserable second half. And Chewich really doesn't, his body language does not look good at all.
Wouldn't that surprise me if he is not in Corvallis next year? He has some opportunities to play some professional ball overseas.
Hawes missing inside.
It does not look like Sasha's heart is here at the collegiate level this season. He's been suspended earlier in the season. He's had some problems with his elbows, missed a game because of that.
And they need everybody on the same page. I mean, it's wonderful to see what's going on in Washington State up in Pullman. They've got everybody on the same page, and they are winning. But Oregon State has a long way to go to get back into it. Lorenzo Romar's team won 26 last year, lost a lot, but they've got the youngins playing well here at home at the Bank of America Arena. John Brockman with a terrific game for the Washington Huskies as they have a 25-point lead with inside 8 minutes to go in this game. They have dominated Oregon State inside, out-rebounding them by 19. 33 rebounds for Washington, just 14. And because of that, second chance points, 18-2.
One of the keys, pound the glass, and this guy has done it. John Brockman misses that tip in, but hasn't missed much else today.
Rule and Shofton are back in the game for the Oregon State Beavers. He's the big kid from the Netherlands. He might have a good future at 6 feet 11 inches tall. Brockman will lead, tying his career high with 25 points to go with 8 rebounds. 9 of 12 shooting from the floor.
And I could guess what Lorenzo Romar told him as he patted him on the back, just like, thanks. Just thank you for coming here. Thank you for giving the effort that you give daily, not just in this afternoon's game, but daily. He was first in every sprint yesterday when we watched practice. And this team had to run for defensive lapses. He was first.
Burmeister floats it up with the left hand. It does not go. And Marcel Jones gets it, and he angrily will take it down. I thought he was getting ready to throw it down, but Dentman got the right hand in there quickly and tapped it away. And one of those days for Marcel and the Beavers. You go, wow.
Marcel thought about, well, wow, yeah, that was just a straight slap in the face by Justin Dentman.
You know, they've just got to stay after it. I mean, you check out those numbers. They have made 6 of 18 free throws in this contest, and on Thursday they made 6 of 19.
Yeah.
It's just been miserable.
I was gonna just looking for that stat, but 6 for 19 against Washington State. Come back here, and you know that gives you more of an indication of mentally where this team. I mean, come on, they're much better. They've got to be. They're playing D1 college basketball. These guys are better shooters than 6 for 19, but it's just a mental thing that losing causes. And when it's Murphy's law, what can go wrong does go wrong.
But it always starts in the mind, and that's where they've got to use examples to believe. I mean, Washington State was picked to come in last, 10th in the Pac-10, and they're tied for second today with just the second half of the Pac-10 play left.
You know, see, I was one of the few media people who had the forethought to not pick them last. I knew they would be better than that. I picked them 9th.
You're beautiful. You're so honest, though.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm one of the smart media people. I did not pick them dead last. I thought they would be better than Arizona State this season, but as Marcel Jones tries to break down Burmeister outside, you know, you look at the talent of both teams. It's not like Washington State's talent level is that much better than Oregon State's. I mean, Derek Lowe's having a great year. I talked about Kyle Weaver, put up a triple-double. He's a terrific player.
And they go at 7 o'clock today against Oregon. That should be a great matchup. It's the first time in, I think, like 37 years where Washington State has been ranked and playing at home against a ranked team. Dentman looked like he got bumped by Josh Tarver, so Justin will be at the free throw line for 1 plus the penalty. Dentman, you talked about at the beginning of the game what he has done, what Washington has done when he scores and plays well. He was averaging almost 13 points per game, almost 50% shooting. And what does Lorenzo Romar see? 15 points, 5 of 9 shooting for Justin Dentman to go with 6 rebounds and 3 assists.
And that's what you're going to need if you're Washington to make a run, to try and get to 500 in the Pac-10 is kind of the first goal at what are they, 2-6, maybe 3-6 after today. And Justin Dentman is a big key. The health of Spencer Hawes is a major key. Getting Quincy Pondexter back and productive offensively is a major. You know Brockman's going to give it to you. Adrian Oliver's been consistent. Phil Nelson, the freshman, gives you what he can. But those 3 guys, Hawes, Dentman, and the other third one I mentioned, have got to come in and give what's expected of them.
Josh Tarver with a career high. He has 21 points.
He's unsung, but he's no hero. So he hasn't fulfilled the. I mean, it's a nice day for him, but a lot of those points coming after this thing has been said and done.
Spencer Hawes with that right-hand hook drops it home. He all of a sudden has 11 points after he was held to just 2 in 8 minutes in the first half.
Highly skilled. His Uncle Steve was a high school coach at Bush High School here in Seattle that used to open up the gym for Spencer when he was in middle school, junior high school, and just work with him on footwork.
Dentman gets it. Justin ahead of the pack, looking to take his man, and then aggressively flips it off to Burmeister, right wing, who misses the three. And they call a foul on Denton. And that will be Justin's 5th personal foul, so he will leave the game, but with the Huskies with an overwhelming advantage, 85-61 over Oregon State. Standing ovation for the sophomore point guard.
Well deserved, particularly the way he played in the first half, Justin Denton. And this was a key game for the Huskies, coming off their win against Oregon, shorthanded because of no Aaron Brooks. But now, do you still have the same fight and intensity and sense of urgency on a team that you should beat Oregon State today? They didn't show it beginning of the game. Started to pick up around the middle of the first half, and the second half has been all Huskies.
And that 2-6 record in Pac-10 play has put them in a situation where they now must hold home court advantage, and they also must beat the teams in the road that they have to, because their next game will be at Arizona State.
And I tell you, I mean, the way Arizona is playing right now, coming off a thrashing at the hands of #4 North Carolina, you know, that's not. It's not without you know, I don't want to say Washington has a good chance of beating them down there, but as good a chance that they've had in the last 2 or 3 years. Spencer Hawes does a great job running the floor, gets a nice lob pass. Phil Nelson, 6'7", out of Kaiser, Oregon, showing the ability to hit the big man on the move.
Now, you talk about Arizona, they were embarrassed today as they were thrashed at home, 92-64. By #4 North Carolina.
I just keep waiting for the Wildcats to get back to how they were playing, and who knows if we will ever see that again when they were in the midst of that 12-game winning streak after losing their opener to Virginia.
Hans Gasser missing the three. Calvin Hampton with the rebound. Again later tonight on FSN, Oregon at Washington State. And we will have that Arizona-Washington game next Saturday. Most of our regions. Shoftenar may have been held. The officials did not see it as he was late getting to the basketball, and a turnover for Oregon State. A 24-point Washington lead. Nelson. His three spins out, and there's Hampton for the rebound. Inside 4 minutes to play here at Bank of America Arena. Steve Physiak, Marcus Johnson with you. Washington exploding in the second half after Oregon State only trailed by 3 at the half. Tarver gets it ahead to his brother, and Seth will lay it in.
They've done a lot of that during their career playing together. State championship at Jesuit High School in Portland. Josh is the older of the two, but redshirted last year because of injury, so they both are freshmen in class, so they'll be playing together for the next 3 years.
I can see them taking a major step forward next year, particularly once you get to Pac-10 play, because they'll have that talented Calvin Haynes coming in, and both Tarvers will be sophomores. And then you've got Marcel Jones, your leader, as a senior. So Jay John has reason to smile for the future. That baby saying, hey, Dad, man, the Huskies played much better in the second half, outscoring them 46-27. And the Huskies trying to win back-to-back games as they beat Oregon, the #7 team in the nation, last Thursday. Quincy Pondexter leading it to Justin Denton, who set a career high with 24 points, and Ryan Appleby hit 4 3-pointers in the game. And Washington walked away with an 89-77 victory. It ended the Ducks' best start in 80 years. (87-65). Huskies with the lead. Washington just doing a tremendous job rebounding. They have dominated Oregon State in this game, 40 rebounds to just 18.
I expect the 40 from Washington, but the 18 from Oregon State once again indicates a little bit of a lack of effort.
Brockman with a 25-point, 8-rebound game. In a moment, we will be taking some of our viewers to their next live event. The remainder of you will stay with us until the conclusion of this game. Washington with an 87-66 lead, well on their way to their 13th win this year and their 3rd in conference play. Huskies and Beavers. Artem Wallace with 2.5 minutes left in the ball game. Pondexter misses. Wallace gets it. Boy, that was unselfish, and Adrian Oliver with the finish.
Artem Wallace, the man from St. Petersburg. He's been the starter recently because of the illness and ankle injury to Spencer Hawes. But just you know, tough, kind of grinded out big guy inside.
Hampton gets the putback, and Oregon State cuts it to 89-68 with 2 minutes left. It's been a tough year for Oregon State, but it has been a great year for the Pac-10 Conference. I mean, outside of Arizona State or Oregon State, when the other 8 teams play each other, it's not an upset. Whoever wins.
Yeah, I thought for Washington, you talk about the conference, they started out as a top 25 team. Go to USC, they lose in double overtime, get blown out by UCLA a couple of nights later, and that kind of started them on their downward slide. But still played Stanford tough in a one-point loss at Maples, went to overtime before they lost to Cal as Ibaka dominated the overtime period. So I mean, they could very easily with this win be 6-3 right now.
But you knew there would be some growing pains with Brandon Roy and Jamal Williams and Bobby Jones, even Mike Jensen.
Yeah,
fine player for Lorenzo Romar last year. They won 26 games, finished 2nd in the Pac-10 with 13 wins. And they advanced to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament before losing to Connecticut in overtime.
In overtime, and in a game where Brandon Roy very uncharacteristically got into a beef with Rudy Gay, got a technical foul, had to sit out a good 12 to 13 minutes of that game because of that, because of foul trouble, and then they still lose in overtime.
Hey fans, here's your chance to win tickets to this year's State Farm Pac-10 Women's Tournament in San Jose on March 2nd through the 5th, or the Pacific Life Pac-10 Men's Tournament in Los Angeles on March 7th through the 10th. Log on to pac10.org for your chance to win today. Huskies all over Oregon State, leading by 20. Beavers were within 3 at halftime, but it's been all Huskies in the second half. The steal by Seth Tarver. 54 seconds remain as Oregon State will fall to 9-13 after today and 1-8 in conference play, and Washington will push the record to 13-7 and 3-6.
Some of that Tarver defense. Seth Tarver, Josh Tarver brothers, older brother Sean Tarver played at UCLA. John Tarver, their dad, is a former NFL player. Got a sister, I believe, that runs track, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that family's loaded.
Another brother, I believe, who is a football player for Oregon State.
Well, Seth makes it a 19-point game. And Tarver will be back at the free throw line. Maybe the reason to smile for Oregon State fans is what they did in baseball last year, and then yesterday they opened the season with a no-hitter. Oregon State, the defending NCAA champions. Congratulations. And I read about a 4-pitcher no-hitter where the Beavers won yesterday.
That'll cheer up Jay John.
Well, coming up next for most regions, number 20 California against Arizona in Pac-10 women's basketball.
Wow. Can it get much worse?
Nope, it can't.
Josh Tarver attempting 20-foot jumper in front of his bench. Ball just slips out of his hands and flies back.
We have seen Oregon State at their worst this year against USC and now against Washington in the second
That's
half.
what J.J. told me. He's like, you know, our 2 worst practices of the year, you guys were here. He said you saw both of them, the one against USC and then the one earlier in the season.
So it's us, huh?
Yeah.
What about those other 11 losses? Here's Jack McGillis taking it in strong, and a foul will be called on Adrian Oliver with 22.1 seconds remaining.
Well, no need for that, Adrian Oliver. I mean, let Jack McGillis have his day in the sun and throw down a dunk, but you know, a little feisty competitiveness on the part of Adrian Oliver out of Modesto Christian High School. McGillis doing a good job, but just on the hustle play, and he thinks he's going to be able to flush it and finish. And Adrian Oliver just all wrist, just grabs him to prevent the dunk. But why?
McGillis misses them both. Oregon State will have it on the sideline, but Oregon State just with a terrible game in the second half today.
And things look so promising in the first half for Oregon State with the energy they were coming out with. One thing Jay John concerned about, making layups. They got those to fall down. Kyle Jeffers did a great job. 12 first half points. Tarver 11 first half points. There's
Seth Tarver takes his brother's myth and throws it down.
There's Seth. He's showing a glimpse, a glimmer of the explosion that I believe he will have once he is completely healed. Not so much even physically, because he says the foot feels fine, but just mentally and emotionally getting used to exploding off of it.
Well, Lorenzo Romar hoping that Thursday's win over number 7 Oregon may have been the start of something good. 2004, they lost the first 5 league games, then won 14 of the next 16 to make the NCAA tournament. They've got a ways to go. For my partner, Marcus Johnson, I'm Steve Physiok saying so long from Seattle, Washington.